Now, I already know I'm going to be called an FL Studio hater. I'm going to be called spicy. I'm going to be called salty for not being on the pro page of FL Studio, even though I was before. I know I'm going to get all these names thrown at me. I'm fine with that. I want you guys to have this conversation with me and asking ourselves, is FL Studio truly innovative? And I asked this question because Suno Studio, for example, was super fire. Version 5 in Suno Studio was very fire. And I was like, this feels like innovation. It feels like newness. It feels like inspiration. And I couldn't think of the last time I felt that way with FL Studio. So I'm going to go through today and look at some of the features that FL Studio has incorporated that are brand new. One being the loop starter. So for example, if you go on your channel rack, they have this new loop starter thing that I guess uses AI to sort sounds and different rhythms that they've studied from different patterns and genres. So let's do a drill starter. Now, when I hear the word drill, I'm thinking, okay, this is about to be like, you know, a J Cactus level drill beat. And then I go in here. Now, I will say this is better than what I've heard before. So when I first used this, it was like drill, you know. Let's turn up a little bit. I don't know where the instruments are. Okay, so the bass has instruments and... So basically, these are just audio clips just dragged in. These are just loops dragged in. Now, I don't know how to... We would have to drag these out into the playlist to really arrange this. But these are basically just loops from their, I guess, FL Cloud. I don't know where they pull these from. Just kind of given to us and organized as a starter. So here's the hip hop. And I noticed it changed the BPM as well. So this button here. Now to me, that doesn't sound very pleasing. I'm not judging everything about this, but let's randomize this one more time. Now I'm not mad at the melody. I'm not mad at the percussion, but this drum break, kind of thin to me. So that's MSX actually made that one. So usually they're known for good product. That one didn't hit my ears though. And I don't want to judge them because they're good sound designers. So they're basically just organizing loops. So it's equivalent of just dragging and dropping loops. They just do it for you, which is interesting. So to me that it did get better. From what I remember, it was not that good. So they must have made some kind of update. So if your job is to just go in and add a melody, a vocal melody, or some kind of performance on top, I can see somebody using that to kind of get started on an idea. And they also give you other sounds here. So we can go in and add a kick, snare. Let's record this in. Now that was actually inspiring here. So this is, they must have did something because this was not like this before. All right, so now we can just, this is fun. Okay, so before this was not fun. Okay, so they definitely changed something that made this more interesting. So I will give them credit for this. All right, so I was going to critique them heavily, but you know, I'll give them credit where credit's due. So another feature they've created is the, let's open up Halo 3D at busyworksbeats.com/Halo. This is my plugin, busyworksbeats.com/black. You can find it in our new black box bundle. And let's right click, let's go to piano roll. There's a new tool called the generate chord progression. So this was like huge on, I think, FL24. People haven't talked about it since, but if you want to create chord progressions and melodies, I'll show you guys how to do this. So let's right click here. Let's edit the key. Let's go to G, let's go to E minor, E, and the natural minor here. You right click that little tab. And let's do one more thing here. Let's go to the performance tab. Let's switch this to up. So this creates like a arpeggio style. And it makes it more melodic. Pretty decent feature if you just want to get something started real quick. Now let's see if this blends in with our loop. I don't even know how to use this loop. Okay, that's in a whole different key. So I don't know what key that first, I don't even know how to get back to the loop maker screen. Like how do we even get to that screen? I have no idea. It's not very clear. Here it is, loop starter. Does it say key anywhere? I don't see a key anywhere. So that would be, you know, some kind of feature I would like is this at least letting us know what key we're in, because you have to do it by ear. And as a beginner, nobody knows the keys like that. So that's the only thing that makes these not blend, is just not knowing the key there. All right, but this chord feature is pretty decent until you're like kind of bored of it. Like I forgot it even existed. All right, now those are the two main things that I think separate FL Studio 24 and FL Studio 25, on top of the stem extraction tools. If you guys haven't seen those yet, you could pull in basically any sample and it will separate it into 4 categories for you. Now, is it the greatest one? I think Logic definitely has them beat by miles. Logic's stem extractor is extremely good. So let's drag this in. Now, they also have tools like Deverb. But being honest with you guys, I have a really powerful computer and that Deverb algorithm takes so long. And I'm not criticizing them. It's so much processing. It takes so long. It's like, why even use it? So the Deverb, yes, it's technically possible, but do I ever use it? No, because it eats up so much time. It's just not inspiring. So here's a loop. We're going to click in the top left, go to extract stems. If you click Deverb, this could take a good half an hour. So let's get extract stems and let's do all 4. Now, depending on your computer power and like I said, how much it can process, even the stem extraction could take some time. But I got a new computer and it works pretty decently. But before, it used to take a good 5 minutes. For anything longer than 8 bars, it would take so long. So it just depends on your computer on this process. So it will then stem out the tracks. So we have the drums. Now, is that a perfect rendition? Not necessarily, but it gets the job done. And then it categorizes the instruments as one big group. And then it does the vocals separate. So pretty good for the average user. You know, that's probably a standout feature. Their stem extraction, I think they were one of the first to do it within the DAW. Next to Serato Sample, who they were way ahead, but nobody really used Serato Studio like that. So stem extraction was a big thing for FL. The chord progression tool was a pretty popular thing at the time. Now it's not talked about as much. And then you have the loop starters, which people don't really talk about at all. You don't really hear people talking about it. It's a cool feature, but you don't hear people talking about it. Because when it first came out, the sounds were very thin. It was almost like, I don't know, they're just very thin. So I don't know where they're pulling these loops from. I don't know if it's FL Cloud stuff or where they're storing these loops, but they're definitely pulling out loops from somewhere, because I saw MSX, which is one of their partner companies for their FL Cloud. So I'm assuming this will get better over time. But again, if this is free, because I'm not an FL Cloud member. So FL Cloud, if that's not free, I'm assuming they're going to limit the amount of loops people can get with this loop starter. You know, they're not going to give away their best stuff for free. So they have to get paid somewhere. So I think that business model of using loop starters, using loops from FL Cloud and using loop starter, there's going to be like a cap to it. So I don't see the quality going up too much higher than where it is right now. Now, FL Cloud, you know, it's interesting that they're partnering up with these companies for plugins. I don't even have the FL Cloud menu. I don't know how to get to it. So let me see if I can find the FL Cloud menu here. Okay, so I found the tab. I had to right click and show the hidden tab, because I hid it because it was just in the way. So with FL Cloud, you have to sign in. It's basically like their version of Splice inside of FL Studio. Let me sign in and see if it says anything. Okay, I went to log in FL Cloud and FL just crashed. All right, so yeah, I think FL is definitely one of the DAWs that crashes the most. Now, we talked about stem extraction. We might as well go to Logic Pro stem extraction, because when I heard about this stem extraction, my eyes lit up like nothing else before. It was so exciting, because not only do you do 4 tracks, you do up to 6 tracks, but it's not only the ability to have more instruments, it's the fact that the quality is way higher on Logic Pro, for example. Now that we found love, what are we gonna do? Like, this sounds like the actual studio recording. Like, that sounds like the actual multi-track. So when Logic dropped the stem extraction and the stem splitter, my eyes like lit up, because this is going to open up so much more sampling. And I'll cover this in future videos here. They even add the reverb on the drums. and the delay throws and things. It's just crazy. So I can imagine how much creativity you guys have about that. Let's see if we can open up FL Cloud one more time. If it doesn't open up, I'm not going to sit here and force it. Okay, so I tried to sign in. Let's see here. Let's sign in again. I kid you not, it crashed again trying to log into FL Cloud. So it's like if they're building a business model that is built around FL Cloud and we can't even log into FL Cloud, like, I don't know. FL Studio just has a lot to work on. So I did talk about the positive things. The loop starter got better. Their plugins are getting better somewhat in terms of the effects plugins. You know, some of the effects plugins I think are pretty decent. I wouldn't reach for them every time, but one of my favorite, let's load up a DJ Paint 1 pack. Let's do like a melody. And we're going to run this through Transporter. This is one of my favorite effects. So this is a new effect here. This is great for like future melodies, like the rapper Future. So Transporter. Now, it's a lot to explain here, but basically we are duplicating the audio and then pitching it up and down or down and reversing it. So let's go to song mode. Now this piano might not be the greatest to run through this. This piano might not be the one. We need something a little more spread out. Again, I don't feel like pulling up a perfect example, but here's a decent one. So if I turn the original, this is what the effect is actually doing. You can also reverse these chops. So I'm kind of roughly just pulling up a random plugin. But that one is pretty cool. Again, not the greatest starting material there to work for that plugin specifically. I probably should use more of a synth sound. But long story short, there's another plugin they introduced called Emphasis. Now, this is cool, but to my ear, it doesn't really... It does something, but it doesn't do what people think it's doing, at least to my ear. Let's run this beat, this Nipsey Hussle style beat through Emphasis. Now you can switch it to a transient mode, loud mode, or steady mode. Change out the style of limiting. So here's what I'm going to do to see how this sounds. I'm going to turn down the original source and push into Emphasis to see how much the gain actually. So this is one of those plugins that it's going to take whatever you have and make it, push it to zero. So whatever you have has to be good for this to sound good. It's not one of those things where your thing could sound crazy bad. You push it through here and it's going to sound better. It has to already sound good, in my opinion, for this to really do its job, in my opinion. So that's a new plugin. I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking to call something FL Studio 25, but outside of Transporter and, the loop starter and the chord progression tool they've introduced, I think in version 24, and whatever else we even talked about, I forgot already. Stem extraction. Stem extraction, I think, is the greatest tool from them. But outside of those things, it's like, what has FL truly done for our music production process? Outside of random requests that people ask for. I think they're losing that innovative spark at FL Studios headquarters. I think they're splitting their attention too much on the FL mobile people. And then they're trying to also pay attention to FL Studio, and it's two different worlds of stuff. It doesn't even blend together. It doesn't even overlap, in my opinion. And I think because, they focused on because if you download FL Studio mobile, it costs you money. Whereas FL Studio, the desktop version, you could just download for free, and you can get the paid version when you want to. Let me see if they have the FL mobile for trial. So I went to the webpage. It says $14.99 with in-app purchases. So I don't even think they have a free version of the app. And I can understand because they owe Apple their fees and Google their fees or whatever. So I'm not expecting anything for free, but when this is the moneymaker, this is the thing that takes them to, hundreds and thousands of people, they're probably going to focus on the app because that's the money generator. But then they lose track of, the people who actually created the culture on FL Studio, the desktop version. Oh, you guys can't even see my screen. Hold on. So yeah, basically it's $14.99 on the Apple Store and Google Store as well. But, that culture for FL Studio Mobile would not be a culture if it weren't for the desktop people. So it's like they're abandoning the original people who made it poppin' to go attract more people who aren't the same people. They're worried about that monetization. And now it's like FL Studio kind of got left with this, holding the bag, so to speak, or holding the, whatever the phrase is. So I just think, man, there's a lack of innovation with FL. I mean, some things I would wish FL focused on: time warping, like build it inside the actual playlist. I shouldn't have to load up new time to re-record the audio and do all this weird stuff in a different grid that doesn't even look the same as the playlist, and then figure out how to apply that to the playlist. It should all be integrated in the playlist. Time warping, in my opinion, recording is abysmal in FL Studio. Let me show you guys what I mean. So for example, if I record something in here, let's turn my mic on. Let's just record some arbitrary stuff. I'll record to the beat just so it's not. Actually, here's what I'll do. I'll beatbox to a BPM. All right, so I'm going to be a little off beat. So firstly, to record, I have to go to my mixer. I have to find a mixer channel. I have to select the input, which is normal. But in Logic, I just go to Logic. I create a track. It says, hey, what kind of track do you want to create? Audio track? Okay, here, where's the input? You change your input, find your mic, you hit record, you go. Okay, with FL Studio, you have to even know where the mixer is. Firstly, you have to go to the mixer. You have to click inside, find an empty channel. You have to find the input. You have to go to the bottom here, hit record. Then you have to go back over here and tell it what type of recording, overdub, loop recording, all this type of stuff. You have to tell it what to record. Right click here to record audio clips, notes, and automation. And then you hit record, and let's beatbox something real quick. So I was a little off at the end because I wanted to make a point here. So I recorded the audio, but now it's like, where did the audio go? If you double click on it, it goes back to where you recorded it. But the problem is I'm hearing myself on the same track that I'm recording. So now if I want to add effects to the thing I just recorded, I'm now hearing that same chain on my input audio. So I think the recording flow is a little all over the place, and it just throws the track in wherever it feels like throwing the track in. It just added it here because we don't have a bunch of other stuff. But if I had more tracks arranged in FL Studio, this recording could have been way down here. It just randomly decides where to put your audio sometimes. It just finds a gap and just adds it there. But that is so inefficient for like workflow, because I don't know where the track went sometimes. Like when you have 50 plus tracks in here, like it just picks the most random place to put your audio, and it's very random. And also too, this horizontal track has nothing to do with where this is actually routed. So I could have different recordings. For example, one's routed at 124, one's routed at 125, but my brain thinks that this is all routed to the same thing. And because FL Studio is very modular, it creates this like, you create a lot of mess because stuff is not organized by default. So I have to double click here. I have to unmute. So let's say I was off just a little bit with that beatbox. I would have to now click in the top left. Hold on, let me turn my mic off. As you guys see, I got my mic active, so I can't talk now. The way you can turn this off technically is click here and then go to monitoring off, but it's like another whole step just to do something basic. So we're going to click here and then go to time warp sample. So in Ableton, it just does it for you. In Logic, you just turn flex on and it does it for you. In FL Studio, it opens up this other plugin that has a whole different grid. I don't know where I am in time with this grid. I have no idea where I am in time. I could hit Control A and the settings aren't very obvious, like snap to grid. Okay, let's do an eighth beat. That's the snap to grid. And we need to quantize. So let's go to edit and quantize time. And I assume it works. Now I'm just going to drag this in the playlist. I have no idea if this worked or not. Let's go to send to playlist. It just made it worse. Unless that's how I ended it. Maybe I ended it like that on purpose. I don't remember ending it that sloppily. I don't know. Their version just sounds super weird at the end. It's like, so I don't know what it did. It's just not the same thing as the first half. So that's what I mean. The time warp is just like, it's not clear what it's doing. And it's just like very confusing to use, in my opinion. Let's even do tempo. Like, I have no idea what this means. It's not clear. And so you can technically time warp in FL Studio, but it's so convoluted to do it that it's like, why even do it? So that they could work on, in my opinion. I think that's a huge, huge thing they need to work on. Like, time warping needs to be addressed. Recording needs to be addressed in FL Studio. What else needs to be addressed? I mean, I'm sure there's 1,000 things you guys could think of in the comments below on what FL Studio is like dramatically needing to change. In my opinion, it's just the recording and time warping are the most obvious things. And stock sounds, you know, I understand FL Cloud is the thing, but everybody doesn't have FL Cloud. We're not buying FL Studio to buy FL Cloud. We're buying FL Studio for FL Studio. For people who want FL Cloud, they go for FL Cloud. I think FL Studio needs to revisit their stock sounds. Their stock sounds are just not good. Like, it's really a bad thing. Okay, so I think they need to address that directly in their browser, not through FL Cloud, in my opinion. So those are the most obvious things I could think of. And I just don't think the FL Studio is innovating anymore. I just feel like they're listening to random comments in their forums and making these as features. And it's like, as a leader, you got to know when to listen to the people and when you just have a good idea and a hunch and just do that hunch. You shouldn't have to always listen to feedback because these people don't know how to run $1 million companies. So why are we listening to the customer all of the time in terms of where the company is headed? I'm not saying don't listen to your customer. I'm talking about the customer is not the leader. The leader has to be the leader. The leader has the vision. The customer is here to revise the leader and correct, you know, some things, but they're not there to guide the leader. And I think that's where FL Studio kind of took a wrong turn somewhere. Let me know, if you guys below, if you think I'm hating. You know, if you think I'm just making up stuff, if you think I'm delusional, if you think just because we get free updates, we're supposed to just accept everything. If you think, you know, FL Studio 25 is the greatest thing in the world, let me know in the comments below. I'm sure everybody has a different perspective, but for me, teaching this to millions of people, you know, it just feels like it's not growing. It's almost getting the Ableton curse where it's like Ableton grew and then it's kind of stagnated for a while. I think that's kind of where FL Studio is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's a game from busyworksbeats.com. Peace out, guys.